Hey everybody, my name is Allison Holly and I'm a channel and an awakening guide. And if you've watched part one of this video, you know the drill. So this is part two of the money series that I'm sharing with you. And again, this is something that I don't usually share. I have a private community. It's called the True Creator Community. And in that space, once per month, I go in and offer a channeling that's private, that's just for that community. And last month, we went into the topic of money. And what came through was so beautiful that I really wanted to share it with everyone. So here's part two of the money series, and sending lots of blessings that this will bring you so much clarity around how to be the most prosperous and financially abundant person that you can possibly be. Enjoy. Question number 4.
What will money look like a year from now? How does one tune into the frequency of money?
Yes. So we've covered the frequency of money, multiple different angles. So we're going to go into what does money look like a year from now? Money is built on collective projections. These systems, the financial systems that we operate within, are collective projections. And it's going to look so many different ways depending on what our individual projection is. The system of money, it's not firm. It's not even collectively firm. There's a bazillion different systems of money. There are a bazillion different ways of operating within the what we would call collective money game, which again, there's a bazillion collective money games. There's so many. There are people who operate with money purely in lack, who only rob each other for money, who only believe that they can be wealthy through deceptive ways. And then there are people who are massively wealthy who barely think about money at all. So there is no firm collective structure around money. There really isn't. It's less and less firm as we move forward. That's awesome because that means that each of us individually, as we move more into these expanded realms, we get to choose the experience that we have of money. We get to choose the experience that we have with ourselves, which informs the experience that we have with everything that we believe to be external to us. Money can be a lot of fun. The way that we go into this abundant space is not by focusing on money per se. It's actually by focusing on our individual expansion into the realms that are inherently abundant. And then money and our experience with money and finances will match that. Because when we enter the fields of oneness consciousness, and all aspects where there aren't attachments sort of lingering in the background, money's different. That's what many of us believe. Money's different. I'm ascending and I'm expanding and I can create anything, but money's different. That is very frequently the belief. So money's not different. It's just not. It's just part of the full landscape. It's a couch. It's a friend. It's a wind, it's the frequency, it's a radio tower emitting frequencies. It's all of it. It's no different than any of that. And when we ourselves tune into the realms of oneness consciousness, inherent to those realms is a high level, it's a way of being that is abundant in all ways. In all ways, meaning anything that we focus on expands. That's the truth of those realms. What are we focusing on? We can expand lack if we want to. So there is no system. It can look however it wants based on your individual perception. There's going to be a lot of people freaking out. There's going to be a lot of people getting very wealthy. All of it's true. It doesn't benefit to really anchor into one, even for this channeling, because all of it exists. Tuning into what we don't prefer doesn't really serve us. And it is sort of difficult not to tune into what we don't prefer when we have a lot of internal fear. So, again, don't focus on money if you have fear around money. Go into the fear around being sustained. Go into the fear around being abandoned somehow, of not having all that you need, and heal that, love that, embrace that, draw it in and transmute it. And everything that we play with will inherently change. There is no system of money. There just isn't. Let that anchor in. There's only ever the experience of anything. We can draw in any experience that we desire based on our internal character, our internal landscape, and how that's operating. So if anything seems to be external and outside of our control, witness what it is, what stories internally that is creating that, and shift and expand and witness how there's multiple possibilities, there's infinite possibilities. Go into that place of presence and choose the potentiality that you would like to project into the world. It will inherently reflect back to you. It's how it's built. Great question. Let's go ahead and move forward to, I think we're on 5.
Hi, what is the best way for me to gain financial abundance and independence right now? Thank you.
Feel abundant and independent. Find other areas in your life besides finances, which again, we place in this pedestal as if it's this elusive thing that we've got to like somehow move. Let that go. Let that perception go by feeling independent and abundant right now and bringing in experiences, allowing yourself to pay attention to those experiences that make you feel free, that make you feel independent, that make you feel abundant. Anything that does that. And then pay the most attention to those things. Bring those in the most. Play with those the most. And money will inherently follow because it's everything. When we do a couple different things, when we release our attachment to our own disempowerment in any area, and 2, in order to, we got to kind of fill that void, we bring in more of what we want to play with, more of the desired experience, everything shifts. Everything shifts. And so it truly is anchoring in the feeling of independence and abundance in our day-to-day worlds that brings it in through all avenues, including money. Feel playful, independent, and abundant, and find different, even the smallest areas in your life where you feel that way, and amplify them. Only amplify the ones that you enjoy and desire. Learn to come into that stillness and be in the presence of what we love, what's enjoyable. Sometimes we need to spend a lot of time in stillness or practice stillness before we automatically reroute into what's enjoyable if we're filled with fear in a lot of ways. If we have a lot of anxiety, coming to neutrality and stillness is going to be the game that's going to be the most accessible to us. And from that place of neutrality, inherently, neutrality is like this beautiful, fertile soil that everything abundant grows from. Everything that we desire grows from this place of neutrality, because neutrality is actually divine love. Neutrality is presence, which is actually divine love. And so we reach neutrality, and then we don't need to push toward positivity. We actually anchor in positivity and play and joy and all of those things because it is inherent to what neutrality really is. It just naturally springs from that space. May that serve you. I'm noticing that the guidance that comes through is a bit more and more and more brief because these are essentially similar, very, very similar questions asked from different angles. The answer's very, very much the same throughout. So we'll see. Let's go ahead and bring in the next question.
Insider guidance regarding creating financial abundance, which for me is enough money for me and my beloveds to not go to that fear place. That is in alignment with my personal divine blueprint. I've been in the liminal space for a long time, so really wanting to step into that creating space.
There was a part of your question that was based on enough to not feel fear. There will never be enough to not feel fear. The feeling of fear can be placed on literally any experience. We can have billions of dollars and still feel fear of lack. We can have $1 and not feel any fear of lack. So the experience of fear, and I know that you threw it in there, but this is a big part of the full question that you're asking. There will never be enough to not feel fear. The reason that you've been in a liminal space for quite a while is because there's more uncovering, more to release. There's continuously more to release. If there were not more to release, you would already be taking off on your divine journey of knowing exactly what to offer and how to offer it. There's fear in the way. The fear is blocking the ability to really go into this, because the fear is saying we need to have all of these structures in place before we dive in. And so there's more of that liminal space. This is divine love coming in to anchor in the codes of knowing how safe you always are, how safe and provided for your family always is. It's a big jump from the structures where we externalize so much and the structures that we build internally to then offer our divine light to the world. And so there is a period of time where there's a continuous clearing. It's the fullness of the way that you offer your services is not available to shine forward if there's still fear that maybe it won't work and maybe you won't be provided for. Right now, the way that everything's sort of stacked on top of each other is, okay, I'm going to get the money, which is, I'm going to know how to offer this, which is going to provide the money, which is going to make me not afraid, which is going to let me leap into this fully. And it actually needs to be flipped. I'm going to feel safe because I'm going to be so tuned in to the fullness of who I am that there's just no question around what I offer and how I offer it. It doesn't matter. This is hard for the mind to comprehend. It's hard for the mind to say, I'm just going to let all that go. When we have dependence, when we have people that are relying on us, and really what it is there are many factors of a life that has been lived where there are structures that are externalized that the majority of the people around you agree on. Those are safe. The model of the fullest abundance available to you while offering exactly what you are here to offer is written within. It is an absolute, and it cannot be seen from the place of still trying to negotiate with the old systems of how things work. I know that this can be hard to hear, but the liminal space continues so that you can keep dropping into deeper safety, so that you can keep releasing the old systems. And it's happening slowly for you so that there's not a jarring in your system because you so deeply want to provide safety for your loved ones. You so deeply want to provide the most expansive experience for your loved ones. So there's this sort of, have you ever seen those movies where like they're stealing the national treasure, right? And it's on a weighted, thing or whatever. And so they have to measure a bag of sand and put it on there and take the relic off of it. That's what your guides are doing right now. They're bringing this feeling of safety in through a slow relaxing of the old systems so that you can then run off with the relic. Okay, so that's what's happening right now. And you can absolutely bring in expressions of your divinity and start offering it. But if you're tuning into it and wondering how it's going to pay the bills, it's going to kind of shake the whole foundation. Let yourself play with offering certain things that you enjoy offering. And know that based on the internal structures that you're still operating in that are part of the old systems, the fullness of what you're here to bring is going to have a hard time channeling through. So it's a slow and steady process of making that transition. Thank you for that question. The next question, please.
I do play with money. Is there anything in particular to focus on in order to bring money inflow into my life now and make also those who owe me money since years paid to me?
You can
Thank
always ask. You're doing great playing with money as a friend and going into the realms where you're calling in the experience of the money that you desire is a little bit more grounded, and that feels a little bit more dense to you. So let's explain this a little bit better. The idea of talking to the people who owe you money and setting up a system for them to pay you feels a little dense and unloving. It's not, though. It's simply engaging with the game in a little bit different way. You could also completely let that go and attune yourself to abundance in different ways. The reason that it's sort of nagging you to do is because there's a part of you that knows that in order to really be grounded and operating in the physical realms, there is some operational experiences that would be helpful for you to learn. For example, not feeling that there's anything inherently unloving or mean or difficult or uncomfortable around talking to the people who owe you money and setting up a system for that to happen. Right now, there's a translation around the way that that would look and feel. You are love. And there's a bit of, to you, what feels like a slightly denser game that your soul would like to learn how to engage with in order to more fully expand and operate with humans in the money games. You can do both at the same time. You can go into those slightly what feels to be denser. I'm going to keep using that word because it feels dense to you. It's actually just a more grounded way of operating. And you can start to play with what are the magical, expansive, totally non-linear, playful ways to bring in money, and everything in between. There's just a bit more grounding that desires to come in for you around these games of being a human and playing with financial abundance. And allowing yourself to go into those grounded, more dense layers of reality is going to feel really good after you do it. It's a little uncomfortable to go into, but then it's like there's this feeling of limitlessness that starts to expand into more of the human experience as well. Thank you for that question. Let me see if there's a final transmission that wants to come through. You are creators. You are here to play with all of your creations. You are here to engage in many, many, many different games. Witness yourselves as you're playing these games. Are you externalizing your power in any sort of way? Does money seem to be something external to you? Do people seem to be something external to you? Do any of these experiences that you wish to have seem to be external to you? Renegotiate the internal landscapes to know that it's all a part of you. And they're simply things that you would like to play with. And when you go into that place of inner neutrality and deepen that space of knowing that you are all of it, being in that presence, knowing that all of it is love, then you can start to really adeptly play with so many things that previously seemed out of reach or off limits or somehow not within your scope of understanding. It's all there. It's all in energy and it's all love. May all beings be blessed. May all beings be free. Which is really saying, may all aspects of the self be blessed and be free.